Alexa and I have made it to the Doubtful Sound, all the way here on the far southern tip of New Zealand's South Island. And we are here on a 2-night cruise where we're gonna explore, well, hopefully everything this place has to offer. Maybe we'll do a little kayaking. We're gonna see a lot of waterfalls, but one thing's for sure, it's gonna be a lot of rain because this area gets between 6 and 8 meters of rain every single year. There's gonna be a lot for us to show you, so let's get to it.
It's getting dark, so Geoff and I have decided to hang out in the room for a little bit before we get some dinner. But we wanted to share what it takes to get to the Doubtful Sound. So first, you fly into Queenstown, which is on the South Island. From there, you'll rent a car and drive about 2 hours south to your first dock. You then get on a boat, not like this boat, just kind of like a ferry, but smaller. From there, you'll go about an hour to your next dock. Get on a shuttle, drive in a big bus for about an hour, and then you make it to your final dock. All told, that's a lot of travel to get to the Doubtful Sound, but makes it that much more of a special experience.
Let's do this. The boat that would be our home for the next couple of days was pretty impressive. Not only did they supply all meals, but it had a full bar available, plenty of games, and lots of areas to just sort of hang out in. After a long day of traveling from Queenstown to the Doubtful Sound, Alexa and I were glad to have a bit of downtime. That said though, the star of the boat was absolutely the outside areas, particularly the front and top of the boat where you could take in all of the Doubtful Sound. When it wasn't pouring rain, that is. But that's just life in one of the rainiest areas on the planet.
Welcome to our room. I'm gonna give you a quick tour, mostly because the room is not that big, but we'll show you everything we have for the next 2 nights. Ta-da! We've got a nice queen size bed. It's soft. It's gonna be pretty comfortable. I'm excited. We've got some towels, some chocolate. We've got a space heater. Apparently underneath the bed, we have some plugs. Maybe we'll be able to show them to you. We'll see. On this side, there's a little nightstand so we can put our phones and books or whatever we have. Got some awesome windows with pretty beautiful views of the Doubtful Sound. We've got a mirror. Where should I go? A hair dryer. I don't think we'll be using that. Oh, this is heated. We've got a heated towel rack, and we can put our clothes on and so it's heated. And in here, we have our own little bathroom. It's pretty small. We have a toilet, a cute little shower, a nice mirror, and a sink to wash our hands. I'll say it's gonna be a pretty comfortable and cozy 2 nights here on our cruise. Very excited.
A few moments later.
Well, we just had our first taste of the front of the ship and the Doubtful Sound weather here, and it is incredible.
The rain is blowing so hard that it feels almost like hail hitting you.
We are both soaked. I set up a little GoPro camera. We'll see what we get. This is absolutely amazing topography. The sounds of Southern Island, New Zealand is unspeakably cool and dramatic. I don't know if video's ever going to do this justice, but I hope you guys can see a little bit of what we're able to experience right now. Just wow.
Few things. I have quickly learned that while my jacket keeps me mostly dry, it gets soaking wet on the outside. So if you're ever here, make sure to bring a proper rain jacket. And these mugs don't really keep my tea warm, but that's okay.
So Alexa and I are a few hours into our trip now, and we're starting to play some board games. I am destroying Alexa in cribbage right now. You gotta see this. It's like a domination. She is not very good at it at all.
Is he sirs? He ain't sirs.
This is the first time, I think, in our entire trip since January that we've not had any internet access whatsoever. I guess we're gonna play board games.
And drink wine.
Alexa and I just received notice that we are about to hit the ocean, the Tasman Sea, and oh boy, can you feel it.
It is a lot. Oh my God.
It is very rocky.
Kind of regret drinking my wine right now. Oh man.
Right behind me is the Tasman Sea, which is the large body of water that separates New Zealand from Australia. And well, we also happen to be situated in the Roaring 40s, which Alexa and I experienced back when we were in Tasmania. It's not quite as extreme when I'm on the side of the boat here, but as soon as I get to the front, it is howling. I don't know if you can tell, but that rock right there is absolutely littered with seals. They are just swarming over it.
Can confirm the wine is safe.
Alexa would never let anything bad happen to our wine.
I've got priorities. Oh my! We're getting close to sunset, so we are going to cruise around the shelter islands and see what we can see before it gets too dark. The sunset's really pretty, so it's gonna be good no matter what. Okay, so we have quite the feast here for dinner tonight. It's all buffet style. They have so many options, great vegetarian, meat, salad, everything. So I'll walk you through my plate. It feels like Thanksgiving right now. So we have a slaw, we've got some salad, tandoori chicken, some turmeric rice, some steamed vegetables, some potatoes with like herbs, some roasted beef, and a little bit of gravy on top. I'm very excited.
A few moments later.
So do not focus on the cribbage board where I am sorely losing. Instead, pay attention to the chocolate ginger cake with a little bit of ice cream.
And I got the cheesecake. That's good cheesecake. It is pitch black out. It's getting to be a little bit later in the night. We are in the middle of the sound. Almost nobody else around us, except for one other boat, which I just find so interesting. Who are they? No idea. It has been a very long day of travel, multiple boats, a bus, car ride. So we are going to go to bed. We will see you bright and early for some extra fun sound adventures.
Good night.
Believe it or not, it is now morning. It is still just very, very dark out here. Mostly because we're so far south and we're heading into winter, so there's just less daylight. Today, well, I'm not really sure what to expect. It is really raining right now. Hopefully we're able to get on some kayaks, but we'll see. Otherwise, we're going to show you guys the boat. We're gonna give you guys a nice big tour of this place that we are staying on for the next 2 nights, and then just kind of show you what it's like to be here in the Doubtful Sound. Hopefully it'll be a pretty cool experience, but it all starts with breakfast, so let's go get some eats.
Okay, we've got our breakfast here. Really excited. We've got some yummy scrambled eggs with spinach, some bacon, a hash brown. Haven't had a hash brown in a while. Croissant, some baked beans, some fruit, and all of the drinks I could ever ask for. And if I really wanted some like alcoholic drinks, I could also order some, but we're gonna start off slow today.
Good breakfast, buffet style, and they make eggs exactly like how Alexa makes eggs every single morning.
Now you might be wondering, how did the Doubtful Sound get its name? There's quite a funny story about how the Doubtful Sound was called the Doubtful Sound, and it starts all the way back in the 1770s. Captain Cook was the first British explorer to explore this area, but he didn't actually make it inside the Doubtful Sound. He saw how big the fjords are and was worried that if he went in, that the ship wouldn't be able to sail out. So he said, doubtful conditions, let's call it the Doubtful Harbor. So from 1770 to about 1998, it was called the Doubtful Harbor, but with the Ngai Tahu Settlement Act, the name switched to the Doubtful Sound, or Phuket. So while Captain Cook was doubtful if he would be able to make it out, we're now doubtful that we're going to be able to get off this boat and go kayaking because of how rainy it is today. So I am currently hiding underneath a covered area so I can still get views but protect the camera and myself from the rain. Unfortunately, it is now raining sideways, so I'm getting a little wet. This jacket, I have learned, is not fully waterproof. It protects me just enough from the rain, but this rain is so intense, like there's so much of it that I'm getting pretty soaked. I'd say if you're coming to the Doubtful Sound, then it's really, really important to bring the right gear, because you want to be outside, you want to be experiencing it. This is definitely not stopping me from experiencing it, but having a more waterproof jacket would have helped. Jeff went downstairs to go charge up the GoPro. So he gave me the camera and I'm just walking around. There are a lot of little nooks and crannies on this boat. We're about to do a tour, so you will see. And now I'm realizing, is he gonna find me? This is kind of fun. We don't have any cell service, so there's no way for us to like communicate with each other if we're not right next to each other. So we'll see how long it takes him to find me. Can confirm he found me. And also, this wind is so crazy, my hair is sticking to my skin.
Very wet and wild. It has been an incredible morning so far, but it's been very wet and windy and rainy. So it's time for a second cup of tea. It's only about 10 a.m. Still a whole day left of this to go. I don't know if you guys can hear me at all, but this is by far the windiest we've felt it. It's just so intense, so strong, and we're not even close to the ocean yet. Okay, well, I don't know if you guys can hear me or not. Mostly because Alexa is recording this from safe inside the cabin here on the boat. So lucky for her. I, of course, have decided to subject myself to the very wild elements out here. We talked about the roaring 40s when we were in Tasmania. These are the roaring 40s. We are not even at the ocean yet, and I am barely holding on here. In fact, if I let go, the wind might just push me up against the window. As Alexa and I are now, I believe, heading towards the Tasman Sea again, though we'll see if we actually get to it because of all this wind. I feel like this would be a good time to talk a little bit about the Fiordlands National Park here in New Zealand. Now, there's only a few places in the world that are anything like this. Of course, there's the fjords of British Columbia, and then there's the fjords in Norway, and there's some fjords other places as well. But this place is truly unique. For one, there's not a whole lot of exploration and discovery that's ever happened by human beings here, which makes this not only a UNESCO World Heritage Site, but one of the very, very few places that humans haven't really done anything with. We're here, of course, on a boat, and we had to take a shuttle to the boat on a road, but there's just so much land that is really unexplored and very natural. But also, these fjords are not in the north, they're in the south, which means, and because it's in the south, these fjords were created by much bigger and much more dramatic ice sheets from Antarctica rather than the Arctic. Speaking of seeing the fjords here in New Zealand, I just want to make a quick call out to our friends at Real NZ or Real New Zealand for providing Alexa and I with this journey. This 2-day trip along the Doubtful Sound has been incredible. In fact, we're still experiencing it right now. And were it not for our friends in Real New Zealand, we would not be able to do this. So be sure to hit them up in the link in the description below if you're ever interested in seeing and experiencing the Doubtful Sound, Milford Sound, or anything along these southeastern fjords of New Zealand. So right behind me is one of the few structures actually built here in the Fiordlands National Park. Apparently some fishermen built it a number of years ago, even though there was technically not allowed to be any sort of structures built here because it was a national park. They found a pretty unusual loophole that had to do with the tides of how deep or how high the water was, and so they built it in a way so that it was technically legal. Of course, the government went back and closed that loophole, but it was after they had already built their structure, so legally it's remained. It's now lunchtime, so I figured I'd show you what we're eating. Alexa's still waiting in line. I don't really want to wait for her before I dive in. It's a sandwich bar, so they gave us plenty of meats, veggies, dips, and salads. Looks really good, and I'm very hungry. I love chickpeas. Well, it's a couple hours later. We were told that we were heading back out to the Tasman Sea, so I had to try and go and get some more footage of that. Well, as we were getting closer, apparently the waters were getting way too rough, way too early. And so the captain just up, right, and turned around, basically said something to the effect that it's not worth the risk. Which I kind of agree. The waters were getting really rough, and we were still quite a ways into the sound. And that's just how it goes. I'm not sure if we're going to head back out to the Tasman Sea for the rest of this journey. One thing I know for certain is that it's going to continue to rain quite a bit. The weather was so dreadful on our second day that Alexa and I didn't know if we would get the opportunity to do any of the off-boat activities. So when the crew announced that we could take a smaller boat for a bit of a tour, albeit a very wet one, we jumped at the opportunity. Now make no mistake, it never stopped pouring rain while we were out there. And while this might seem like a bad thing, it actually provided us with some of the best views of both our home ship and the Doubtful Sound. Mostly because with all of that rain came all of the amazing and majestic waterfalls that completely surrounded us. All in all, we spent about an hour cruising around the crooked arm of the Doubtful Sound, just taking everything in, including a lot of water. But the bright side is, because we were already so wet, we figured we might as well take a bit of a polar plunge as well. If Alexa and I look a little bit like drowned rats, that's because we are. We just had a really fun and surprisingly full boat ride of people who wanted to be out on a boat, a smaller boat, and one that wasn't covered or heated in any way.
Nope.
But it was a lot of fun.
Yes, and now we just got dressed. Well, Geoff was already in his swim shorts, but I got my bathing suit on because now we get an opportunity to swim in the Doubtful Sound. Very excited.
Once in a lifetime opportunity.
Polar plunge.
Except I don't think it's gonna be that cold.
What?
Bro, what are you talking about, man?
Here we go.
I don't know, I might do that.
That is cold.
Woohoo! We did it! We polar plunged into the Doubtful Sound. If I sound cold, it's because I still am cold. It was so much fun. The water is absolutely freezing. Like, it takes your breath away once you jump in. I jumped in twice. The first time was off the higher end. I got a little scared, so actually stepped down and then had to do it all over again. So that was embarrassing, but I did it. This was probably my last excursion outside for the day. It's time to be warm and stay warm, and most importantly, be dry.
Some fun facts about the sound while I wait for my own shower. Alexa's in the shower right now. While the Doubtful Sound is directly connected to the ocean, therefore is a body of salt water, what's perhaps most interesting about it is that because it rains so much and there's so much water coming off of the mountains into the sound, it's that the top 3, 6, sometimes up to 50 meters of water in the sound is fresh water. So you actually have to dive pretty deep to get to the salt water. And salt water and fresh water don't mix here. And so technically what we were swimming in was a freshwater sound. We actually got really lucky. And I know it doesn't seem like that because it's been raining so much, but because of all that rain is why we get all of those waterfalls. And our guide was telling us just a few weeks ago there was a tree slide. A tree slide is not quite like a landslide, but it's very similar. It's a bunch of trees and tree roots that sort of get pulled up and down into the water. And this happens because trees that are growing on the mountain tend not to be able to sink their roots very deeply in. And so at some point, a tree will get very heavy and everything will sort of get pulled out. And that will cause a cascading effect of trees, bushes, and other sort of debris heading down into the sound. We didn't get a chance to see one, but it's on days like this that tree slides are most likely to happen. What an experience. Well guys, if you can believe it, it's about 8 p.m. and it's finally stopped raining. But of course, we can't see anything. Well, we've had a long day, but there's still more to do tomorrow. So we're gonna go ahead and call it, and I'll see you in the morning.
Good morning. Unfortunately, today is our last day on the boat, so we still need to show you what the boat looks like. So I'm gonna give you a tour. Let's go. There are 3 levels of rooms for people to stay in. We are staying in the middle level. There's one below and then one above. Woo! That is beautiful. Starting at the stern, because the bow is the front. So this is where there are life jackets, canoes, and where we actually jumped off into the water yesterday. You also get some pretty epic views from down here. It's also where the engine is, so it's a little loud. Okay, now we have our middle level viewing deck. You also have bathrooms on the outside if you need them. Obviously safety precautions, and you also see the tenders, which Geoff and I went out on yesterday in the torrential rain. But if you go in this way, this is the main saloon. This is where we have all of our meals. They have games. They also have a bar, which is fun. You can order coffee and drinks, and then also alcohol. And they have a bunch of New Zealand specific items here to show off. Some really delicious New Zealand wine and beer. Let's go. We're talking quietly because there are people out here viewing and we don't want to interrupt them. But on this side is the front saloon. This is another viewing area where you can see beautiful views of the Doubtful Sound while also being protected from the elements. There are doors on both sides so you can go out and stand on the sides of the boat. I found that by standing on the sides when it's really windy, it actually isn't as windy here, so you can kind of handle some of that windier elements without being completely like that. Maybe we'll cut that. Another thing is what we've been told, especially right now it's nice, but generally they advise like hold on to a railing, be careful. We are on a boat, and sometimes the waves are a little rough. But I'm going to show you now the front of the boat, or the bow, the middle level one, and then we'll go up to the very top to conclude our tour. We're getting really lucky today, getting some amazing views. The sky is like the color of cotton candy. All right, we got one more viewing area to go. As you can see, there are most people up here, even though it is so cold, but the views are amazing. The weather is cold but easy. It has been really fun being on this boat, but we are not done yet with this episode. We want to give you the full circle of what it takes to do the Doubtful Sound. So you're coming all the way back with us.
So on this trip, Alexa and I have been on the Doubtful Sound for a couple days, and if you look at the Doubtful Sound on a map, you're going to notice that there's quite a lot of little arms, little branches that go into different places on the sound. And I figured that we were going to explore most of them. As we went through yesterday, we were exploring more and more of them, and I was like, okay, so this is pretty comprehensive. There was one arm left though that we didn't quite get to. And I didn't think we were going to because it's the morning and we are supposed to be heading back to dock. Well, because we had some spare time, the captain said, we're going down it. So we will have seen every branch and arm of the Doubtful Sound when all is done. And every branch and arm is just so beautiful in its own right. One last thing to show you guys here before we leave the Doubtful Sound. If you look behind me, you can see a literal crack heading up into the top of the mountain. That is a literal fault line here in New Zealand. And that just shows you just how tectonically active this region is, because that wasn't created that long ago. And at some point, it'll probably rupture again. According to our guide here, it is more of a branch off the main fault line here in New Zealand, but still, the fact that it could do that, that's very powerful stuff. What an amazing experience. I don't think I've ever been to someplace as beautiful as the Doubtful Sound.
At every moment, it looked like you were in a postcard. It was so pretty.
Really big thanks to Real New Zealand for organizing and collaborating on this trip with us. Without them, Alexa and I absolutely would not have been able to do this trip. If you see this video now, you want to go to the Doubtful Sound, go to their website. We'll leave a link in the description below, and you can organize a tour from them. 100% recommend it if you're coming to New Zealand. And if you enjoyed this video, please like and subscribe.
One of the highlights of the trip was someone got engaged.
Oh my God! Okay, it's happening. Everybody stay calm.
What's the procedure, everyone? What's the procedure?
It wasn't me though, or us. It wasn't us though.
Sorry to leave you guys waiting.
But next week, we are heading to the very northern tip of New Zealand.
This week we were in the very far south. Next week, going all the way up to the tippy top. So come back next week
For another adventure. See you then.
The whole kit and caboodle. Word? Caboodle? What does that mean? What does kit and caboodle mean? It's like cats and caboodles? I don't know. Or is it like kit and caboodle? I'm getting off track here.
Good morning. No. Hold on. Okay. Good morning.